Welcome. My name is Danielle, and I am so glad you're here. As a yoga teacher, I truly believe that yoga is for everybody and every body. So, no matter what health issues you have, what mobility concerns you have, there is a way to take any traditional yoga sequence and adapt it to your needs to meet you where you're at. And I think we tend to get so caught up in yoga needs to look a certain way and feel a certain way. And I'm here to tell you, no, that's wrong. Yoga is the balancing of body, mind, spirit, and bringing it all together in harmony. And so if you need to do your poses a slightly different way, that's okay. That is valid. That's beautiful. And my goal is to help make it more accessible to you so you can find the practice that works for you. So today I have a chair yoga sequence to offer, and it is going to be completely seated. So if you are somebody that has mobility issues, that you can't stand for long periods of time, maybe you've broken an ankle, maybe you just can't quite stand and get out of the chair, that's okay. This whole class, we're never going to leave the chair. And you don't even actually need a yoga mat. If you don't have one, there's no issues there. All you need is yourself and a chair and maybe a block, but even that is just optional. And I will show you that we can still do the same sun salutations, the same warrior poses, the beautiful goddess squats. We can do all of that stuff without ever standing up. So grab what you need to, put on a calming playlist maybe if you're feeling it, or maybe working in silence, and meet me here in our mats, and we will get started in a seated position in our chairs. All right, we have made it, we have arrived. And now let's go ahead and come to a comfortable, confident seat as we start to bring that attention inwards. So sitting bones, grounding down, making contact. You can lean back against the back of the chair if you need that support, but otherwise coming and sitting up, middle of the seat, front of the seat, really strong and active. Shoulders over your hips. Can we sit up tall? And then rolling those shoulder blades down and back. Maybe the hands are coming up on the thighs, palms up to receive, palms down to center in, or you can take both hands resting on top of each other, thumbs resting towards center. All beautiful options. And then maybe having a gaze at the floor in front of you, maybe closing your eyes, and just taking a few breaths here at the beginning to bring that attention, that intention inwards. So every inhale, maybe sitting up a little taller. And every exhale, feeling that weight grounding into the seat. Maybe bringing some awareness to your nostrils. The cold air coming in, the warm air coming out. And then starting to just do a little body scan. Where are you tight? Where are you holding today? What needs a little bit more focus? And for the remainder of this class, your only job is to keep that focus lasered in to your inside, your breath, your body. So we move with the breath and focus on the breath, and anything else is just bonus. So focus in on that breath right now here at the beginning. Let's take one good intentional inhale together. Open mouth, exhale, sigh it out. And blink your eyes open if you've shut them. All right, so we'll start with some gentle movements and get a little bit more dynamic as we go. So on your inhale, arms out and up, palms together. exhale, start to twist to the right, left hand coming onto your right thigh, right hand coming onto the chair behind you. If you're feeling extra open, maybe taking it to the opposite side of the chair, but we're lifting up through both sitting bones and then twisting back, gentle on our neck. Inhale back through center, arms up. And exhale, twisting to the left, right hand coming to left thigh, left hand on the chair behind you, lengthening up through the spine and then twisting deeper. Being soft in the shoulders, soft in the jaw and the brow, looking past the tip of our nose. Inhale, arms back up. And then exhale, pour yourself over your legs, folding in. Inhale, round it up, roll it up. Chin comes up last, arms up overhead. And then exhale, hands come down parallel to the sides, palms facing down. Then twisting to the right, stretching east to west in the shoulders, shoulders away from the ears. Can we grow a little bit taller? Maybe looking over that right shoulder. Then inhale, back through center. Exhale, arms come down parallel, twist to the left. Stretching east to west, keeping those shoulders over your hips, tall spine, gently gazing back. And inhale, back through center. Exhale, pour yourself over the legs. Inhale, round it up, roll it up, arms up overhead. Exhale, right arm drops down, left arm goes up and over, trying to keep our shoulders square with the front. Maybe looking up over that left arm and reaching that right arm down. You can also have the right arm supporting the seat if you need that little extra lift. Then inhale, back through center. Exhale, left arm goes down, maybe grabbing, maybe rooting down. Right arm up and over. Keeping those shoulders square to the front. Really feeling that sensation on the right side. Breathing into that right rib. Maybe gazing up. And inhale, back through center. And exhale, pour yourself over the legs. Inhale, round it up, roll it up, arms up overhead. Exhale, arms come down to the sides. I'm going to reach around, maybe grabbing onto the sides of the chair, maybe clasping hands if you have that mobility, but either option. We're going to inhale, lift the chest, cow's breath in the spine, and exhale, rounding it in, tucking that chin. Inhale, pushing the chest forward, trying to lock out those elbows. And inhale, rounding in. Inhale, pushing the chest out. Exhale, rounding in. A couple more times here, just trying to get into our shoulders first. And then we will do some deeper movements here in a moment. All right, one more time. Inhale, chest comes forward, arms locked out. And exhale, rounding in, back making contact. And then coming back through neutral. Hands coming to our knees for support. We're trying to brace our spine here. Then on our inhale, pull the chest through and up for cow. Then exhale, pushing into the hands, rounding back, tucking the chin for cats. Then inhale, pulling the heart through, finding the length, dropping those shoulder blades. Then exhale, rounding in. Moving with your breath for a few. Maybe closing the eyes can really help you feel the movements. Imagining your spine, your breath moving together like a wave. Rolling your body in opposite directions. And seeing, especially if you do close those eyes, can you get a little bit more articulation in the spine through every movement? And then maybe noticing, where are you stuck? Where are you stagnant? And especially for me today, I can tell in my middle spine, that thoracic spine, I just don't have as much movement. It's still early in my day. So where are you stiff? Just notice. All right, one more time. Inhale the cow. Exhale back through cat. And then coming back through center. Maybe blinking those eyes open again. One final warm up. We're going to start to do some neck rolls. So looking at the tip of your nose, just starting to go in either direction. I'm starting with clockwise, counterclockwise, I guess, for you guys. Just drawing smaller circles and gently getting it a little bit bigger every time. You can also close your eyes. Maybe helps tune in to that movement. Getting them bigger and bigger as we go. Maybe tuning in. Where do you feel the tightness? Where do you feel those snap, crackle, pops as you move? And then one more circle coming back in through center, pause. And then circles in the other direction. So starting small, gradually getting bigger and bigger as we go. Warming up those muscles. Maybe you're not doing full large circles, maybe sticking with what's small. This is your practice. So do what's calling to you. All right, one more circle, and then coming back through center. One last little neck stretch. As you're ready, coming back through center, starting to tip your head over to the right, imagining right ear coming to right shoulder, but we're still lengthening up. We want to feel a nice stretch along that whole left shoulder. Really focus on drawing the left shoulder down. And if you want a little bit more sensation, you can take your right hand on top of the head, gently pressing it down, just to get that little extra stretch. You can also reach your left hand down, maybe flexing the wrist a little bit to really get that whole stretch on the whole left side of the neck and shoulder. And breathing softly. And then release, coming back through center, reset that spine. Growing tall, gently starting to tip that head over to the left. So now we're focusing on that stretch on that right line, your right shoulder drawing down, really thinking about getting that left ear to that left shoulder. Of course, it won't actually make it, but just imagining that. Maybe your right hand reaching down, maybe flexing the wrist, maybe taking that left hand on top, gently pressing the head down and noticing where do you feel the stretch. Maybe closing the eyes, really reaching that right hand down. And then release, going back through center. All right, we should be nice and warmed up a little bit by now, so let's get into a little bit more dynamic movements. So we're staying entirely in the chair, but we can still do the same movements, those same sun salutations that we do standing, just imagining it a little bit differently. So we'll do a couple of sun salutations to warm up, going slow at first. Inhale, arms up, palms together. Exhale, pour yourself over the legs. Inhale, hands slide up the shins, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, hands come through the knees, pull the chest through for a cow. Exhale, push round back for cat. And then inhale, round out and up, coming straight spine, arms up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Let's do it 2 more times. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, we fold. Inhale, sliding the hands up, heart shines through. Exhale, we fold. Bringing the hands to the knees. Inhale, pull the heart through for cow, cobra, whatever you want to call it. Exhale, pushing back into cat, down dog. Same options, right? Inhale, pulling through and up for seated, arms up overhead. Arms to heart center. All right, one more time, moving with that breath. Inhale, arms art and up. Exhale, we fold. Hands touching the floor. Inhale, hands slide forward, heart shines forward. And then exhale, we fold. Hands to knees. Inhale, pull the heart through, rounding in that back. And exhale, folding in and rounding back, straightening those elbows. Inhale, pull the heart through and up, sitting tall, arms up overhead, arms to heart center. All right, so now we're going to get into kind of the more standing poses, still in the chair. So we're going to start to swing those legs over to your right, shifting the hips off to the side to where now your left leg can come out behind you. So setting up for those standing poses without the weight. So if you want to have your knee making contact, like 90-90 in the legs, that is an option. Or you can stretch that leg back, having it grounding down. Setting up for your warrior poses. You're just using the chair as a support to take some of the weight off of the feet. So inhale, arms up, strong warrior one pose. Settling the hips down, really feeling that stretch. If it feels better to have that back foot tucked for like a lunge option, that's okay too. Kind of playing with that heel raised or lifted. Maybe making those micro adjustments. We're lifting up, imagining shoulders over our hips. Pinky spiraling in, shoulders away from the ears. Can we sit a little bit taller? And maybe slide those hips a bit, just get a little bit more stretch here in that left hip flexor and softening in. All right, inhale, lengthen. And then exhale, windmill those arms open into our warrior two variation. So you can make those micro adjustments in the feet, feeling it out, looking for that knee coming directly over the heel, really pushing that knee back. And sometimes I find with the chair for support, it really helps you see and visualize that knee directly over that ankle. Stretching east to west, shoulders over our hips, no leaning backwards, no forward. Can we grow a little bit taller? And rolling those shoulder blades down the back. Softening in navel to spine. Can we sit a little bit taller? Now staying with this, if you'd like more sensation, start to take that left hand down the leg, reaching the right arm up and over into our reverse warrior. So this left arm is just there for support. So if you were to hover, you shouldn't lose too much height. The height is coming from the right arm. It is reaching up, feeling activation in that right side body, and then going over. And really imagining with the chair, we're driving that right hip down, keeping that contact. Really kind of helps imagine keeping those hips more square. And softening in, can we reach and sink a little bit more? And then inhale, coming back through center, reset that spine, shoulders away from the ears. Staying here, are starting to lean forward and bringing that right arm down for our side angle pose. So we're having that knee elbow contact. They're pushing into each other, keeping our hip active, and they're reaching up that left arm, really feeling engagement along that whole left side. Maybe the hand is coming in. You can kind of reach the ankle for support or the pinky toe. Or if you need to have your forearm on your thigh, if you're not there yet, that's okay too. Finding whichever variation is calling to you, but keeping those shoulders away from the ears. Can you roll the shoulder blades down your back and looking up if it feels okay? All right, so those are our three poses. So for a few breaths, we're going to move between them. So inhale, coming up into warrior two, reset the spine. And then exhale, going into our reverse warrior. Inhale, coming up into warrior two. And then exhale, our side angle. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, reverse. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, side angle. So moving with your breath for a couple of rounds. Just seeing with every round, can we find a little bit more sensation, a little bit more activation? And we're really checking in. This left leg, it is grounding down into that floor. It is working, it is active. I'm really feeling it along that outer thigh. Let's do one more round. Inhale down into side angle. And then coming back up. And then as from warrior two, windmill those arms back into our warrior one lunge pose. Inhale, reach up. And then exhale, hands come to heart center, coming back through into our seated rest or Tadasana pose. All right, let's seal that in with a couple of sun salutations. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, pour yourself over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift, heart shines forward. Exhale, release, hands come to knees. Inhale, pull the heart through for cow. Then exhale, rounding in, tucking the chin for cats. Inhale, coming back through, sitting tall, arms up overhead. Exhale, arms to heart center. And again, inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, refold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, refold. Inhale, pull the heart through for cow. Exhale, round in for cat. Inhale, sitting tall, arms up overhead. Exhale, arms to heart center. One more round. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, refold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, pull the heart through for cat. Sorry, for cow. Exhale, rounding in for cats. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. All right, we should be feeling balanced, should be good. Now we're going into the opposite side. So swinging our hips over to face the left now, shifting our hips to now where just that left hip is making contact. The left foot is grounding down, right foot steps back. We can opt for that 90-90. We can opt for that lunge option, or you can ground that heel for that warrior one roots, warrior two roots. And the feet are going to feel a little different. You know, we're doing it sitting, so you might not be able to get that heel to heel alignment, but find what feels right. Inhale, arms up, feeling it out for a few breaths. Shoulders away from the ears. We're trying to square those shoulders to the back of the mat, trying to get those shoulders over the hips, pinky spiraling in. Can we breathe a little taller, really driving that right hip down, finding space. Maybe softening here at the end. And then exhale, windmill the arms open into our warrior two. So adjusting those feet as we need it, focusing on that left knee, left heel, stacking directly over them. Shoulder blades down and back, stretching east to west. Can we grow tall? Maybe gazing over that front hand. Pressing down, really find activation in that right leg. It is working. Staying with this. Or on your inhale, left arm goes over and up, dropping that right hand back for our reverse warrior. So again, that right hand is just supporting us. All of the height, all of the activation is coming from that left side of the body, breathing into that left rib. Shoulder blades down and back, looking up over our hand if it feels okay. Can we sink a little bit lower in that hip, reaching up and over a little bit more? And then inhale, back through center. Reset that spine, shoulders over the hips, holding here, or starting to lean forward, going into side angle. So having that elbow on the thigh or elbow to the inside of the thigh. Right arm is reaching up or over, pinky spiraling down. Soft gaze, shoulders away from the ears. And breathing space. Can we reach a little bit more? Then coming back into warrior two. So that is our flow. You can pick one pose or move between them, moving with your breath. Inhale, reverse. Activating that spine, tight core. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, side angle. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, side angle, reverse. Ooh, inhale, warrior two. I'm needing my coffee this morning. Inhale, side angle. Exhale, inhale, warrior two. Reverse, warrior two. Lean forward, warrior two. Let's do one more round. Reverse, warrior two. Lean forward, warrior two. All right, coming back into that warrior one lunge pose for breath, resetting, sealing it in. Can we reach a little bit taller? And then exhale, coming back into our seated Tadasana. Shoulders over hips, shoulders away from ears. Let's seal it in with a sun salutation. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, we fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, we fold. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cats. Inhale, sitting tall, arms up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, we fold. Inhale, halfway lifts. Exhale, we fold. Inhale for cow. And then exhale for cats. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. One more time. Inhale, arms out and up. And exhale, we fold. Inhale, halfway lifts. And exhale, we fold. Inhale for cow. Exhale for cats. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. So before we get into some more stretching poses, I really find value in working in the shoulder girdle, especially when we're sitting, because your legs, those muscles are important too, but if we're restricted to a chair, most of our movement is coming in our shoulders. So let's really feel and work into our shoulder girdle just a bit. So inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, cactus the arms, draw those shoulder blades down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, cactus the arms, as if we were pulling them through water, nice and slow. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, cactus the arms, fingers are spread wide, shoulders drawing in. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, cactus. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, cactus, drawing it in. Now, inhale, draw the elbows in towards center, trying to bring those elbows towards touching. You might be here, you might be here, you might be all the way in, finding what works for you. And draw the elbows in, tucking that chin. Then inhale, opening up like a book, drawing those shoulder blades down and back. And then exhale, rounding in, tucking the chin, rounding the shoulders. Inhale, arms out and around. Exhale, round in. Maybe cow, think cat's breath in the spine. On the inhale, thinking cow's breath. Moving with your movement, your breath. Finding what works. Sticking with what doesn't. Maybe closing the eyes. Really drawing the muscles in and activating as if we were moving through water. Can we do a couple more rounds? Feeling that burn. I'm feeling it in my upper shoulders. I don't know about you, but such a simple movement can find so much activation. All right, one more round, tucking in. One more round, reaching out. Inhale, arms up overhead. And then exhale, hands to heart center. All right, so we've been focusing on our upper body. Let's bring some awareness back into our roots. So focusing on one leg at a time. Let's start with our right. So can we just hover that right foot, really flexing the foot, hovering it just an inch or two from the ground. And then can we start to stretch that foot out, going directly from the hip, looking for that straight leg, really flexing that foot. And then bringing it back in. Can we hover or tap if you need to ground it? And then stretching it out. We're going to do a couple of reps here. Let's do 5 reps. Hovering it if we can, grounding it if we need to, but moving slowly, confidently, strongly, finding that activation. Let's do one more round. I'm really feeling that burn. We're working that quad, pushing it to its limit, and then grounding it down. Shifting over to that left leg, we're really making contact with our roots, shoulders over our hips, growing tall, navel to spine, and then hovering that foot, and then kicking it out. Really flexing that foot the whole time, drawing that heel in, then driving the heel out. Moving slow and controlled, seeing if you can keep that thigh perfectly level the whole time. Kind of wants to move out and up depending on our range of motion. Shoulders away from the ears, staying strong with our spine, flexing that foot the whole time, then drawing it in. Let's do one more round. Flex, 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 and then release. Maybe taking a moment to close the eyes. Notice that difference from side to side. And now we'll do the same thing, except this time adding some extension. So inhale, hovering that right foot, flexing the foot. Then as you kick it out, instead of flexing the foot, really point that toe, a long line of energy shooting out from the hip. Then flexing it to bring it in, maybe hovering, maybe grounding it. And then kicking it out, pointing that toe as hard as you can, activation all the way through. And hovering it in and kicking it out. 2 more times, hovering it in, kicking it out. Maybe notice what happens with your spine as you move. I'm rounding it, I don't mean to, I just am. So can we get that spine a little straighter? And then right foot grounds down. Taking a moment, reset that spine, commit, strong and tall, shoulders away from the ears. Then start to hover that left foot. And as you're ready, kicking it out. So even just then, just the very first one, my spine starts to round. So trying to stay strong and tall. Hovering and kicking, pointing that toe, trying to work every fiber in that leg. The more activation, the more benefit we will receive. Drawing it in, kicking it out, drawing it in. One more time, kicking it out, and hovering it in, and grounding down. All right, taking a moment to reset, and we'll get into a little deeper stretch. So awareness back into that right leg. Start to hover, pick it up, kick it out for a moment, then start to draw it in, bring that right foot on top of that left thigh, setting up for a figure 4 in our legs. So we're really focusing on keeping that foot active. So flexing that foot. And then your right hand comes to your right knee. You can start to kind of push it down depending on how open your hips are. Your knee might be up, might be not. We're trying to get them really level. I'm going to scoot my hips a little bit further just to get into the hip a bit better. You can also kind of slide that foot in. If you want to be able to kind of push it down, you can slide that foot to where it's kind of on the inside of the thigh. Just finding whatever is calling to you today. And you can stay with this, or to go further, leading with the heart, finding length in the spine. Start to hinge forward, imagining a flat back as you fold over that folded leg. And finding some softness, shoulders away from the ears, maybe closing the eyes. That connection with that right hand, pushing that right knee down. Really, I feel that stretch in my outer hip. I guess depending on your bodies today, you might feel it elsewhere, but it just kind of gives you that insight on where you are tight. Where do you hold tension to get through the poses of life? And softening in here at the end. And then release, coming back up. Taking that right leg, maybe stretch it out for just a moment. Feel that activation. And then grounding it down. All right, coming onto that left leg. So as you're ready, start to hover that left leg for just a moment. Then start to bend it in, bringing that left foot on top of the right thigh. And making those micro adjustments, finding where do you need it to be. It can be, do you need your ankle past the thigh or go all the way to the pinky? But that left hand is making connection with the left knee, pushing that knee down. That left foot is flexed, staying here, growing tall, shoulders away from ears, or starting to hinge forward with your breath. Finding softness and space, leading with the heart to hinge into a deeper fold. But that left foot is staying flexed, that left hand making contact, pushing it down. Finding space, finding grace, And maybe taking a moment to notice this side. Is the stretch the same or different? Right? What sensation can you find in this moment? Softening in. And then release. Inhale back up, kicking that leg out, finding activation, finding sensation. And then left foot meets the earth. All right, going into a little bit more hip work now. So start to wiggle your feet out to the sides, trying to set up for a goddess squat variation. So maybe scooting those hips forward a little bit, scooting those heels back. Your heels can be pivoted in. Eventually, one day, you want to have those heels straight out with the feet. Hands over your knees, sitting tall. And just for a few breaths, really imagining taking your hands kind of to the inside of the knee and pushing them back. We want to find that stretch all along our inner groin. Shoulders away from ears, maybe closing the gaze. Really help find that activation. And maybe checking in with our roots. You know, we tend to put the pressure into the big toe, but really seeing if you can spread some awareness into the outsides, those pinky side edges of those feet, grounding down equally between both sides and then grounding down in the heel. Really feeling strong and stable as you sit up taller, navel to spine. We tend to pop those hips forward into a bit of an anterior tilt. Can we tuck your tailbone, staying tall? Breathing through it. Now staying with this, if this is enough, you're welcome to continue to go further. On your inhale, grow tall. And exhale, start to dip your left shoulder in, looking over to the right. Inhale, back through center. Then exhale, dipping the right shoulder, looking to the left. Then inhale, back through center. Then exhale, dip. Moving just like this with your breath. Maybe moving slow, really enjoying lingering where you need it. Maybe picking it up. Maybe closing the eyes. Really helps you notice where that stretch is moving. With every rotation, can we dip the shoulder a little bit more? Maybe tucking the chin a little bit. And then inhale, coming back. Then exhale, turning to the right, dipping that shoulder, tucking that chin. And inhale. So one more each side. Twisting to the left. Inhale, back up. Twisting to the right. Inhale, back up. Then gently starting to wiggle walk those legs back together. Okay, so we just did a bit of a hip opener, extending them out. And we're going to bring them back in for a bit of an eagle variation. So bringing that awareness to that right leg. Right leg is going to go up and over the left. You can leave your legs like this or take that right foot, start to point it down. Maybe wrap it. One day it'll be able to wrap around your left calf. Arms go out to the sides. Identify that right arm, and on your exhale, right arm goes down and around the left, grabbing onto shoulders, forearms, maybe your hands, maybe coming into prayer, maybe making a fist. Whatever variation you need, that is perfect. That is beautiful. Take a moment to draw the elbows in, lift the chest up, shoulders away from the ears, sitting tall, and everything is squeezing in, everything is active. And this is enough. If you would like to stay here for a few breaths, you're welcome to it. To get a little bit of core work in, to turn it up a little bit more. On our inhale, lifting the arms, imagining cow's breath in the spine. And then exhale, starting to round in, bringing those elbows to the knees for cat. Then inhale, out and up. And exhale, rounding in. Inhale, out and up. Exhale, rounding in. Keeping moving with your breath. Really feeling it in the shoulder blades. It's not as much of core work when we've taken the standing out of it, but it's still a little bit of work activation to keep that smoothness. But we should be really feeling it in our upper spine and our shoulder girdle as we kind of move that stretch into different positions, having gravity work a little bit differently. All right, one more time. Inhale, arms up, lifting up, shoulders down and back. And then exhale, rounding in. Can we tuck the chin, seal it in? And then we release. Arms back out to the side. Right leg goes back to neutral. And then shifting to the left. So taking that left leg up and over, maybe leaving it here, touching the floor, getting that wrap. Identify your left hand. And on your exhale, left arm goes under the right, grabbing onto shoulders, maybe forearms, maybe prayer. It might be different side to side, and that's okay too. Take a moment to draw the elbows in, lift the chest up, a strong, solid upper body. And you are in the pose. Staying here, finding activation. Everything is squeezing in. This is a compression pose. To go further, start to move with your breath. Inhale, going up for cow. And exhale, rounding in for cats. Inhale. And exhale, rounding in. Inhale. And exhale. Moving with your breath and your movements. Really imagining lifting the elbows and then drawing the elbows in towards your chest. It's really going to feel different in your shoulders. We're trying to get deep into those tissues. All right, let's do one more time. Inhale, lifting those arms. And then exhale, rounding in, sealing it in, tucking that chin. And then release. Arms come back out to the sides, unwrap, unwind. And finding your way to a seated pose. All right, so all that is left now is to cool it down with a nice little deeper stretch. So if you would like to use your block, you're welcome to it. Otherwise, you can do it just with the floor, but it kind of helps give you a little bit different sensation. So we can do it, we're gonna do one side at a time, seated half butterfly. So bringing that right foot to a block if you would like. That left leg is going to extend out, and you can slide that block in or out depending on how you need it. But all we're going to do is start to shift our hips to where our legs are just tipping over and drawing that right knee out to the side. So it was kind of like that figure four before, but we're just adding more sensation. It might feel good, it might not, to have the foot on that leg. If you bring it down the shin, it kind of gets a little bit into the different areas of your groin. But I like to have that block there sometimes, some days, just gives it a little bit more stability. You can even do the high setting. Whoop. Just make sure you have it grounded down just right. Just working that knee down here at the end, pushing it in, letting that gravity do its thing. So find whatever setting is calling to you. One hand on either thigh. And sitting tall. If you would like to point your left toe, you can, or you can flex it, dragging the heel in. And maybe imagining tilting that tailbone a little bit forward to get a different stretch. You can also tuck, just kind of play with the position of your hips and softening in. That hand is a nice little counterweight to gently lift it open. Closing your eyes, just noticing what's coming up. And it seems like it's not that big of a stretch, right? But it might be surprising after a few minutes, after a few moments even, really. It starts to find different sensations. So can we soften the jaw, soften the brow, and just tune into whatever there is to tune into. All right, let's go ahead and start to shift it out. So shifting the block over to the other side if you're using it. Right leg goes straight, left leg starts to tip out. So again, if you want to do that figure four again, you're welcome to it. Slide the shin down the thigh or use that block. I like the block because it just brings the leg out a little bit deeper and just makes it a different stretch. But setting up for our half butterfly. So imagining that top of the foot is rolling down so you can see that inner sole. Hand coming to your thigh for gentle counter pressure. Sitting tall, maybe closing the eyes. And just a few moments to breathe. With every breath, seeing if we can soften just a little bit more, growing a little bit taller. All right, and then we will release. All right, moving that block out of the way. One more little spinal twist before we wrap it up and seal it in with the savasana. So coming back to seated, you are going to take that awareness to your right leg and bringing that right leg up and over as if we were going into that eagle twist, right? But we're not going too deeply. We're not wrapping the rims, just going for that nice little bind. We're going to take that left arm up, stretching, finding length, and start to twist over to that right side. Left arm coming down on top of that right thigh. So if you want to grab onto your left knee, you're welcome to it. You're welcome to just push the chest open, or you can grab onto the side of your seat. Right arm can be down at your hip or holding onto the back of the chair. And every inhale, find the length. And every exhale, twisting a little bit deeper. Imagining your shoulders coming parallel to the side wall one day. Hips still staying square to the front. Maybe looking over your shoulder, navel to spine, as if we were trying to wring out our spine like a rag. And looking over our shoulder at the end. And release. Unwrap, unwind. Right leg goes down. Left arm up, left leg up and over. Right arm reaches up, find length. And then exhale, starting to twist to the left. So your right arm can come onto your thigh. You can hold on to that leg. You can hold on to the seat. Right arm can reach onto the side. If you're really open, you could go onto the back side of the chair, the opposite side. Or you can come onto your hip crease, just depending on your shoulder mobility. And then just finding a few breaths. Every inhale, lengthen, sit up taller. And every exhale, use that space to sit a little deeper, twist a little further. Maybe looking over our shoulder at the end. And then release, unwrap, unwind. Make our way to our final comfortable seat. And so before we really tune in to that final seated savasana, I really want to take a moment to bring some awareness to our hands. So we're going to start just do a nice little hand massage, let's do our right hand first. So maybe closing our eyes to really bring that awareness to the sensation and just gently starting to massage into that palm. I mean, if you think about it, our hands are one of the most important tools of our day. Everything we do, everything we eat, everything we make, when we're typing, texting, reading, writing, we use our hands all day. And it just feels like that's the one thing in yoga we don't quite do enough of. So especially here, just giving some gratitude at the end for our hands. Maybe bringing some massage into the fingers, giving them some love. Getting into that thumb. And then starting to massage the other side. So rubbing into all the tissues of the hand and just sending love and gratitude and kindness there to them, right? They are your tools to engage and interface with the world. So massaging out the fingers. Massaging out the thumb. All right, and then shaking them out. Maybe doing some wrist circles, closing them with fists. Circles the other way. Then the fingers like flashing them, open, close. Just shake them out. All right, and then here at the moment, bringing your hands back into the knees or doing that seated one on top of each other, thumbs resting in, or whatever variation you would like. Let's find some stillness here at the end. Closing the eyes, bringing that awareness inwards. Maybe bringing some awareness to the heart. And closing your eyes in gratitude for all of the work that you've done today and all of the work still to come. We are here, we are showing up, and all of the work that we do on the mat, we all benefit off of the mat. So sending some love and compassion to yourself and others. And gratitude for the ability to be. So we'll seal in that focus, that love and kindness with one deep breath. Inhale fully. Exhale fully. And blink your eyes open if you've shut them. Thank you so much for joining me today and taking the time to take care of yourself. I hope this has shown you that, no matter what your mobility, your issues your body might need, there is yoga available to all of us. And it just takes some creativity and kindness to be able to find it for yourself. So until we meet on our mats again, I bow to you and say, Om Shanti, peace, and thank you for everything you do. Until next time.